It's time for Inside the Capitol, your weekly legislative update from the League of Oregon Cities. And now for a look at what's happening this week in Salem, here is LOC Lobbyist Scott Winkels.
Hey everyone, this is Jenna, guest hosting on Inside the Capitol. I'm joined here with Scott Winkels. What's going on in the Capitol this week?
Some interesting things and developments that happen in the Capitol this week. What's going on right now is nothing. The session is functionally over. Technically speaking, it doesn't end constitutionally, at least until midnight on Friday, but they will not be reconvening, according to the presiding officers. Yesterday, they couldn't assemble a quorum of legislators, and everything is now over. There were 3 bills passed out of the Capitol, so if you see Happy Valley, congratulate them. They were one of the entities that got their bill through, able to resolve an issue they had with their Parks District. But that's pretty much it in terms of legislative accomplishment for this session.
So where does that leave us? What's like the next step?
Lots of next steps, and we're lobby team still sort of assessing what's going to be possible, what's going to be on the list. But the first thing that's going to happen is the emergency board, which is a group of senior leadership members of the legislature who can appropriate money during the interim while the legislature is not in session for, as the name implies, emergencies, are going to convene on Monday, and they're going to address funding issues for 3 things. The first will be the Umatilla flooding. Get that underway. It's important that the state pony up with the state match ahead of the federal declaration, so the homeowners can get their assistance that they need. Next, they'll be doing some appropriations for COVID-19 response.
Okay.
That's pretty important. We've got 3 confirmed cases and a whole bunch of people who are getting tested right now, and the anticipation is that list is going to grow. So they want to make sure that the health agencies have what they need in order to respond. And the next will be some issues around wildfire. So the forestry and the other relevant agencies will be ready for the fire season. And that's the first thing that'll happen to address sort of the fallout from the end of this session. There has been an announcement of a special session. I can't tell you when. We heard some conflicting things out of the presiding officers in the governor's office yesterday. We heard from Speaker Kotek that it would be announced within 30 days. There's some the other chambers in the governor's office were more circumspect as to when this would be convened. The governor has indicated that she won't call a special session unless she's convinced that will be a quorum in attendance.
That was going to be my question: is will we have a quorum for a special session, and what happens if we don't?
If we don't, then the league's priorities and everybody else's priorities won't be enacted for February. And so what's on this table for us? There's transportation money that was in the appropriation list. There was $9 million in community mental health that was going to go to divert people from the state hospital and jail diversion. That was a priority for the league. We had Senate Bill 1567 that was ready to go on the floor.
Police accountability.
That was
right?
a police accountability bill, and that bill is really time sensitive because if you have some members that are currently in bargaining with their police unions, and the way the bill's structured, we would need the legislative change in order to get those matrices or guides in place ahead of the contract or ahead of the final contract. So looking for that to be on the list moving forward. I think there's also some talk yesterday about changes, some constitutional changes that I think people might see on the ballot to change the quorum requirement or attendance requirements coming forward. But that'll be an elective issue, and the league is, of course, not going to be a part of that. Once it goes to the ballot, but that's sort of where we're looking at going forward. And then the governor did announce that, and I don't know what this will look like yet, but there's some executive orders related to carbon.
Okay.
That Senate Bill 1530, this was the spark that precipitated the walkout, was the cap and trade bill. The governor, I believe, has some ability to enact executive orders to accomplish some of the goals in that bill, but I couldn't tell you what those are at this time.
And we'll sit and wait. I mean, from my own perspective, I'm a little sad that broadband didn't pass.
Yes, that was disappointing. I think that was an area where I think there was some agreement. I think it's also what we're also assessing is the bills that died because of lobbying efforts that were problematic for the league. Are they going to stay dead in a special? Will we have to go back and re-lobby those issues?
All the bets are off at this point.
I don't know that. I don't think it'll be tabula rasa, a clean slate, but we'll see. I mean, I think we're working with the leadership right now. We've asked for some meetings, been in contact with the governor's office to talk about what these special sessions look like. But time will tell.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Well, I guess we'll take the approach of sit and wait, and do our best to have communications in the interim between a short session a special session. But thanks for coming in and joining me this morning.
Absolutely.
And for all those who still didn't figure it out, I'm not Denise, but she'll be back next time. And this is Jenna and Scott. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to this week's Inside the Capitol. Episodes of this microcast are released every Friday during the legislative session, so be sure to check out the show notes for links to the bills that were mentioned, as well as a link to the LOC Bulletin for up-to-the-minute information. As always, if you have suggestions for topics for this podcast or for City Focus, please send me an email at cityfocus@orcities.org. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and be sure to subscribe to get notification when we publish new content.